How's it going? I'm Yogo G. Butch from the very, very well-known YouTube channel Yogo Swag. You've probably heard of us from our two world-renowned Minecraft Hunger Game videos. They came out about 10 years ago, and since then we've done absolutely nothing with the YouTube channel. And so after that 10 years, I decided that I would go ahead and revive the channel and use it for a completely different purpose. I'm not really going to play Hunger Game Minecraft ever again, probably. But I'm going to do other stuff. For now, the focus is going to be on a devlog series. Basically, I'm developing a video game, and I'm going to post weekly videos about the progress that I'm making. Hopefully weekly. We'll see. So, the game that I'm making, right? Important stuff. I'm making a medieval town building fantasy game with some survival elements, but mostly a focus on town defense and combat. So why am I doing a devlog? To see my own progress mostly. I just want to kind of go back and review these later on. I got a subscriber count of 3, so I'm not expecting a ton of people to pick these videos up, but it's mostly for myself to kind of go back and review and see how I added different features, look at the progress that I've made. So for the pre-alpha, I'll be using Unreal Engine 5.6.1. I might update to 5.6 point whatever, but I probably won't go to 5.7. Typically those updates are riddled with bugs, and I really don't want to deal with all that shit. And I don't care to learn Unity because I know C++ and I don't know C#, and I'm sure that it'd be super easy to learn, but I just don't want to. So for the pre-alpha, the core survival mechanics that'll be present are gathering, so picking up like sticks and rocks and shit, resources and resource management for the town, so cutting down trees and breaking large stones to gather logs and things like that for buildings will be present. And then hunger, maybe thirst. I personally think thirst is a very boring mechanic, but it comes to be kind of expected in survival games. So we'll kind of see. Maybe my mind will be changed. I probably won't add thirst. I don't really care for it. So for the prototype building system, the buildings will be prefab. And the reason I'm doing prefab buildings is because eventually I plan to add other races to the game that are playable things like goblins and whatnot. And so if a player plays as a goblin, I think it's important to put an emphasis on the difference in a goblin building versus a human building, right? They would build these things completely different in this game universe, and I feel like the best way to put that emphasis is through prefab buildings. It'll be hard to do with modular buildings, just because the most you could really do is like interior decoration or maybe exterior decoration. But I feel like the entire structure would be different, and the only way to really get that down is prefab buildings. There will be construction animations, but they're going to be placeholder in the pre-alpha. They're probably going to look like shit. The different worker AI that'll probably be present in the pre-alpha. The builder is a guarantee. The miner is not, and the farmer is almost guaranteed to not be there. The miner will probably be turned into the gatherer, and the gatherer will just go around picking up sticks and rocks and shit, picking berries and whatnot. And there will probably be a guard. The guard will be pretty high on the priority list because combat is high on the priority list. So like I said, I want this game to be multiplayer, and so I want the combat to feel good. And so because I want the combat to feel good, I'm going to focus primarily on the melee combat. So things like the spear, sword, shield, two-handed axe, one-handed axe, things like that. All of those kind of have different animations, different styles of melee combat, and I feel like it is a priority to make that feel good in multiplayer versus adding ranged combat that might not necessarily take nearly as long and make as much of a difference in the game as far as feel goes. Obviously, ranged combat will be added later on, but it just might not be in the pre-alpha, or at least early renditions of the pre-alpha. The AI guard will be able to do all of these types of melee combat, but the AI guard will be someone that's an individual that's assigned to a task, right? So you'll tell a guard to patrol this spot or something like that, or stand at the gate. those are the kinds of things that the AI guard will be able to do. Eventually, there will be a soldier, and the soldier will be able to be assigned to a unit, and you would control the unit rather than just the guard. And so rather than telling 10 guards individually to go run at the goblin spear line, it'll instead be a unit that you tell to run at the goblin spear line. As far as the combat goes, it'll primarily be goblins that you're facing in the pre-alpha. Maybe I'll add humans, but goblins are kind of the focus that I want to go for, just because I want their animations, whatnot, to feel good, because eventually they're going to be a playable race, and once it's done for humans, it's done, you know. But with goblins, it's just kind of an extra goal to add on. So for expectation management, I am the only dev on this project. I'm doing all the 3D animations. I'm buying the 3D models online because I do not model, and all the C++ and all the code and everything. That's all me. So I'm going to try to avoid any kind of feature creep, just so I don't have to add on to my plate. But eventually I will outsource things like the art and whatnot. Week 1 expectations. So this upcoming Sunday, when I release the next devlog, it's just going to be player controls, basic walking and whatnot. I am going to make it from scratch. I'm not going to use the UE5 third-person template, just because there's a little bit of bloat in there that I don't really care to have. So the input mapping context should all be done by the end of this week. It'll probably be done today. And then things like opening UIs should be implemented as well. The UI themselves will not be implemented because I have to create those, and I hate creating UI. But the ability to open them will be there, even if they don't exist. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. That's kind of all I really wanted to go over. Like I said, most of these devlogs are going to be here for me. But if you have any questions or comments, concerns, ideas, feel free to message me on Discord. And you know, if you come up with a good idea, I'll put your name in the credits. It'll be great. You'll be right under my name. My Discord name is the same as the YouTube channel name, so you know I always look out for that kind of thing. If there's any comments on the YouTube videos, I will 100% respond to them. And if I don't respond, it's because I couldn't think of a response to it. So yeah, just hit me up if you got anything for me, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.